There have been some complaints that an Amber Alert was not issued. I understand that the criteria is very specific. Was that considered? Is it still possible?
Absolutely, Kayla. On the day of the incident, I can tell you I was working. I reviewed the policy that morning. We have to have a suspect or a person of interest when it comes to abduction or a vehicle. In terms of sending out an alert, when you send an Amber Alert, you want to direct the public to look for a specific vehicle, to look for that license plate, to look for that suspicious person, to have a photo of someone or more information to suggest that there was an abduction. In this case, they are young children, certainly vulnerable people, and a vulnerable person alert was issued.
He's made it pretty clear here that if at any time any additional information comes to hand that points towards an abduction, that they could still issue an Amber Alert. So they've told this exact same reporter that they have hundreds of hours worth of video footage. And some of that video footage comes from Gerlock Road. No, it may not come from directly outside the house, but they have footage which will show them any cars that went along that road for the days leading up to the day that the children went missing and for several days afterwards. So they would have well and truly by now identified any vehicles that did not belong, or any vehicles that may have changed their movement and perhaps spend more time travelling along that road than they usually would, or that appear to have spent excessive time in the vicinity of the property. So you can bet that by now, if any of those vehicles that they've looked at on camera come up as suspicious and come up as having a high likelihood of having transported those children away from the property, we would know about it. There would have been an Amber Alert put out as soon as that information was verified. So when it comes to this Derwood guy, or Darren, or Ronnie the Third, if you know what I'm talking about, then first of all, that story's been out there for long enough for the Mounties to be well and truly aware of it, so that once again, was that story actually real? We would know about it because there would be an Amber Alert issued saying we have now gained information that the children left the property in this vehicle. Chances are they would also know who the driver of the vehicle were. You can bet if there was any credibility to this story, they would have hauled Malaya's ass in and questioned her extensively about the story. They would have also hauled in Daniel's ass and questioned him extensively about the story. Clearly, there is no evidence of this story, which basically means it is just that, a story. Were there any evidence whatsoever, there would be an Amber Alert right now. And let's be realistic too. This particular story that's been put out, any time someone has pointed out a hole in the story where things don't actually fit, where the story doesn't make sense, then the story gets evolved and we get different information coming out, and you get people who still believe the story and they forget the first bit of information that they were given. That first bit of information that contradicts the later information, which was invented to make up for the unbelievable parts of the story, the parts of the story that could be easily proven wrong. But honestly, even before you listen to the story, some guy comes forward claiming to be related to Malaya, but he knows Daniel and he lives in the area where Daniel lives, not in the area where Malaya comes from. And he gives a story that is designed to put shade on Malaya, not on Daniel. And people seriously want to give credibility to that? Whichever way you look at it, it just does not pass the sniff test.
I've been